Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we are diving into something I think a lot of you will be really interested in. We're going to be exploring the world of herbal medicine.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And we're not
Yeah.
just talking about using herbs to add some flavor to your dishes. This is about truly understanding how herbs can be used to support your health in a whole bunch of ways.
You got it.
So we are lucky enough to have as our guide on this journey, The Big Book of Herbal Medicine by Tina Sams.
It's a great book.
It is. It really is. It is packed with information covering an absolutely enormous range of herbs. I mean, we're talking everything from like the common stuff you probably have in your kitchen already, like garlic and ginger, to
Mhm.
things that are maybe a little less familiar, like lavender, and all the ways those can be used in teas and topical treatments. You name it. It's all in there.
Yeah, it's a really great resource for anyone who is interested in herbalism. I mean, whether you're just starting out or you've been practicing for years, there's always something new to learn.
Now, I know that our listeners, they like to get to the heart of things. They want the info, but they don't want to feel overwhelmed. So our mission today is to pull out the most practical and interesting insights from this book.
Hmm.
We want to give you a good sense of how to think about using herbal remedies in your everyday life without feeling like you need to become a full-blown herbalist.
Right. We want to empower you to make informed choices about your health and well-being.
Exactly. And as with all of our deep dives, a super important reminder. Everything we're talking about today is for informational purposes only. It's definitely not a substitute for advice from a qualified healthcare professional.
For sure. And in fact, the book itself actually has a disclaimer right at the beginning, emphasizing that you should always talk to your doctor before using any herbal remedies.
Especially important if you have any existing health conditions or if you're taking any medications.
It's really important to be safe and responsible.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into it. The world of herbal medicine can be a little intimidating, right? I mean, where do we even begin?
Well, the book actually does a really good job of sort of laying out the different ways that people approach herbalism. And it points out that there's no one right way to do it. Some people just use herbs occasionally, like maybe they'll have a cup of chamomile tea to help them sleep,
Right.
while others are, really immersed in it. They might grow their own herbs, they might make their own
Maybe
remedies.
even foraging for them.
Exactly. And the book even talks about how sometimes, certain plants might kind of show up in your life.
Almost like they're trying to get your attention.
Yeah, like if you keep seeing dandelion everywhere you go.
Right. Like maybe it's a sign that you need to pay attention to your liver health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the book is really encouraging us to be open to the possibility that plants can be our allies in our health and well-being, and to pay attention to the messages that they might be sending us.
Yeah. I love that. It's almost like this intuitive connection with the natural world, but it's also a good reminder that, we have to approach herbal medicine with respect.
Right.
These are powerful substances.
Ab-
We need to be mindful of that. And also just the fact that everyone's body is different.
Yes.
What works for one person might not work for another.
And that's where the idea of your constitution comes in.
Right.
In herbalism, we talk about having different constitutions, and that basically just means like your overall tendency towards certain states of being. So
Like if you tend to run hot or cold.
exactly. Or if you tend to be more dry or more damp or
If you're prone to getting, digestive upset or skin issues.
right. And understanding your constitution can really help you to choose herbs that are going to be most supportive for you.
Okay, now speaking of history, it's easy to think of herbal medicine as being a sort of a trendy modern thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the book really makes it clear that this is a practice that goes way, way back.
Oh, absolutely. This is ancient wisdom we're talking about.
I mean, even in the Bible, there are all sorts of references to using plants for healing.
Right. And throughout the Middle Ages, herbs were basically the primary form of medicine.
The book actually mentions how yarrow was highly valued during the Civil War for its ability to stop bleeding.
Oh, yeah. Yarrow's amazing for that. And they used echinacea to fight infections.
Pennyroyal to keep away bugs,
Makes sense.
and slippery elm for soothing sore throats.
Wow.
Even in World War II, when supplies were low, people turned to wild herbs like thyme and foxglove and peat moss to treat all sorts of ailments.
It's incredible to think about how much knowledge our ancestors had about the healing power of plants.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, have we lost touch with some of that wisdom in our modern times?
Maybe.
But it's definitely coming back around.
It is.
Now, one question that comes up a lot is about safety.
Makes sense.
People want to know, are herbs really safer than pharmaceuticals just because they're natural?
Right.
So what does the book say about that?
So the book acknowledges that, yes, generally speaking, herbs do have a really good safety record,
Yeah.
especially compared to pharmaceuticals. But it also stresses that just like with anything else, misuse or misidentification can be dangerous.
Right, like if you accidentally use a poisonous plant,
Exactly. Or if you take too much of an herb, even if it's generally safe.
it can have negative effects.
Absolutely. So the book really emphasizes the importance of being informed and cautious when working with herbs.
So what are some of the tips that the book gives for staying safe?
Well, one of the best things you can do is to start with herbs that are already familiar to you.
Like the stuff you use in your cooking.
Exactly. Things like basil and oregano and thyme.
Right.
Those are all herbs that have been used medicinally for centuries, and they're generally very safe to work with.
It also points out that the number of plants that are actually truly toxic,
Is relatively small.
okay, that's good to know. And it's helpful, I think, to remember that the word toxic can mean a lot of different things.
Right. It doesn't always mean deadly.
Right. Sometimes it just means, you might get an upset stomach.
Or a rash.
So again, just being informed is really key.
Absolutely.
Now, beyond just identifying safe herbs, the book introduces this concept of herbal energetics, which sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Can you explain what that is?
So in Western herbalism, energetics is a system for understanding the basic qualities or actions of herbs. So are they warming or cooling? Are they drying or moistening? And how those qualities interact with the body.
So it's not just about the chemical compounds.
Yeah.
It's about the herb's energetic nature.
Exactly. And the idea is that you can use this knowledge to choose herbs that will help to bring your body back into balance.
I see. So if you're feeling cold and sluggish,
Mhm.
you might choose an herb that's warming and stimulating.
Right. And if you're feeling hot and agitated, you might choose an herb that's cooling and calming.
So for folks at home who are just starting to explore this, how do they figure out what their own energetic tendencies are?
So the book talks about understanding your own baseline constitution. And this is something that you can figure out over time by paying attention to your body and how it responds to different things.
So like if you always feel cold, even when it's warm outside,
Yeah.
that might be a sign that you have a cold constitution.
Exactly. And if you tend to sweat a lot or get flushed easily, that might be a sign that you have a hot constitution.
Okay, so once you have a sense of your own constitution, you can start to look for herbs that have qualities that will balance you out.
Exactly.
Now, the book actually gives a really great breakdown of the different energetic properties of herbs.
Mm-hmm.
And it lists some examples of herbs that fall into each category.
Right.
Can we go through some of those?
Sure. So first we have astringent herbs.
Okay.
These are herbs that are drying and tightening. So some examples would be cranberries, oregano, parsley, and black tea.
I'm definitely familiar with a few of those.
Next, we have bitter herbs.
Okay.
These are herbs that are generally cooling and they often help with digestion. So some examples would be citrus peel, dandelion, gentian hops, mugwort, and yellow dock.
Got it. What's next?
Pungent herbs.
Mm-hmm.
These are herbs that are warming and drying, and they often stimulate circulation. So some examples would be cumin, horseradish, mustard, and paprika.
Okay. Keep going.
All right, salty herbs. These are herbs that are cooling and drying, and some examples would be celery nettles, seaweed, soy sauce, and vinegar.
Okay. What about sour herbs?
Sour herbs are cooling and drying, and some examples would be fermented foods, lemon sumac, and tamarind.
Got it. What else is there?
We also have spicy herbs. These are herbs that are warming and drying, and some examples would be cinnamon, cloves, ginger, and holy basil.
I see. And last but not least.
Sweet herbs.
Okay.
These are herbs that are generally warming and moistening, and some examples would be anise, cardamom, nutmeg, and sesame seeds.
That's a lot of information, but it's so helpful to have that breakdown.
Yeah, once you start to understand the energetics of herbs, it really opens up a whole new world of possibilities for using them to support your health.
It's amazing how these concepts connect to how we talk about our bodies, even without realizing it.
Right, like when you say, I have a stuck cold,
Exactly.
they're actually describing the energetic state of your body.
It's true. And the book gives this really clear example of how energetics can help you choose the right remedy for a skin rash.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a rash that's weepy and oozing, that's a sign of dampness.
So you'd want to use herbs that are drying.
Right. But if you have a rash that's dry and cracked, that's a sign of dryness.
And you'd want to use herbs that are moisturizing.
It makes perfect sense when you think about it that way.
It does.
So let's say you're ready to start incorporating some of these principles into your life. The book talks about setting up a home apothecary,
Yeah, it can seem a little daunting at first, but it's actually pretty simple.
You don't need a lot of fancy equipment.
Nope.
What are some of the essential supplies that people should have on hand?
Well, the good news is that you probably already have most of what you need in your kitchen.
Okay, like what?
So you'll need jars and small containers for storing your herbs and remedies.
Makes sense.
Zip-top bags are also helpful for storing dried herbs.
Right.
You'll need a cutting board and a good knife for chopping fresh herbs.
Got it. And what about for actually making the remedies?
So for that, you might want to have a double boiler, Risu droppers, muslin bags measuring cups and spoons, and labels.
Labels are important.
Super important. You don't want to end up with a bunch of unlabeled jars and have no idea what's in them.
The book actually tells a funny story about that happening to the author.
I remember that.
She had this whole shelf of mystery remedies.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's a good reminder to label everything carefully.
For sure.
Now, the book also mentions a few more specialized tools like a distiller and a press, but it stresses that those aren't essential for beginners.
Right. You can get started with just the basics, and then if you find that you're really into herbalism, you can always invest in more equipment later on.
That's good advice.
Yes.
Now, beyond the physical tools, the book also talks about the importance of your mindset when you're preparing remedies.
Yes, your intention and your mood can actually affect the quality of your remedies.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of like cooking. If you're in a bad mood, your food might not taste as good.
That's interesting. So what does the book suggest?
It suggests creating a calm and peaceful environment before you start making your remedies.
So maybe light some candles, put on some soothing music.
Exactly, and just take a few moments to center yourself and focus on your intention.
I love that. It's almost like a ritual.
It is, in a way.
Okay, so you've gathered your supplies, you've set the mood now. Let's talk about the different types of herbal preparations that you can make.
Okay, so the book covers a wide range of preparations, but we'll just focus on a few of the most basic ones.
Sounds good.
So first we have infusions, which are basically just herbal teas.
Right.
To make an infusion, you simply pour hot water over your herbs and let them steep for a few minutes.
Okay.
The book also talks about concentrated herbal infusions, which are made by steaming a larger quantity of herbs for a longer period of time.
I see. And those are good for extracting minerals from herbs.
Exactly like nettle and red clover.
Got it. What about infused oils?
So infused oils are made by steeping herbs in oil, and they're a great base for making salves and massage oils.
The book actually gives a tip about using cheesecloth to cover the jar while the oil is infusing.
That helps to prevent mold growth.
Good to know. What about herbal pills?
So you can make herbal pills by combining powdered herbs with a liquid binder like honey or tea.
Interesting.
You then roll the mixture into small balls and let them dry.
Okay. Sounds pretty straightforward.
It is. And then the book also mentions some really simple remedies like tea bag poultices and spit poultices.
Spit poultices.
Yeah, it sounds kind of gross, but it's actually a really effective way to treat things like insect stings and minor wounds.
Those work.
So you basically just chew up a leaf of plantain and then apply it to the affected area.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The plantain has anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties, so it helps to soothe the skin and prevent infection.
That's amazing. And finally, let's talk about herbal compresses.
So compresses are made by soaking a cloth in herbal tea and then applying it to the body.
Okay.
You can use hot compresses for things like muscle pain and cramps.
And cold compresses for inflammation and headaches.
Exactly. And the book gives a great example of a compress made with lemon balm and St. John's wort, which can be used for either hot or cold applications.
Sounds very versatile.
It is.
Okay, so those are some of the basic types of herbal preparations that you can make. Now let's get into some specific remedies for common ailments.
Okay, so let's start with sleep issues.
Always a popular topic.
Yeah. So the book has a recipe for a Sweet Dreams herbal tea blend that combines passion flower hops, lemon balm, and chamomile.
Wow, that sounds delicious.
It is, and it's really relaxing.
What about for stress?
For stress, the book recommends lavender sachet.
Lavender is so calming.
It is, and sachets are really easy to make. You just fill a small cloth bag with dried lavender flowers.
And you can keep them in your purse or by your bed.
Exactly.
What about for colds and congestion?
So for that, the book suggests a simmering potpourri made with eucalyptus, rosemary, thyme, and peppermint.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is the steam from the potpourri helps to open up your sinuses, and the herbs have antiviral and antibacterial properties.
Very cool. And what about for skin issues?
For acne, the book recommends a peppermint tea tree toner.
Okay.
And for dermatitis, it suggests a cooling aloe vera gel with witch hazel.
Both of those sound very refreshing.
They are.
And finally, what about for digestive issues?
So for that, the book recommends fresh ginger tea.
Ginger is so good for nausea.
It is, and it's also really helpful for heartburn and indigestion.
It's a wonder herb.
It really is.
So there you have it, folks, a quick tour of some of the amazing remedies that you can find in the Big Book of Herbal Medicine.
We've just scratched the surface.
But hopefully this gives you a good starting point for exploring the world of herbal medicine.
Yeah, and remember to always do your research and consult with a qualified healthcare professional before using any new herbs.
Especially if you have any existing health conditions or if you're taking any medications.
Safety first.
Always.
The book also has a great resources section that lists some organizations and websites where you can find more information about herbalism.
Fantastic. Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
We've seen how powerful and effective herbs can be for supporting our health and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wonder what other traditional practices might be out there
Right.
that we've maybe forgotten about or dismissed as being old-fashioned.
Maybe there's a lot more wisdom to be found in the old ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to keep an open mind and explore different traditions and see what resonates with you.
I think that's great advice.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of herbal medicine.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you learned something new and that you're inspired to start incorporating some of these amazing plants into your life.
Happy healing, everyone.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.